Hi, what I want to do in this lesson is go through some of the answers to map C. So this is question 3 on pages 10 and 11 of your theme 14 booklet. Map C is all about dipping beds. This sea cliff is an example of beds that dip, that are inclined. Just to give you an example of what we're doing here, if we have a horizontal line there, we can see the beds are inclined away from that horizontal line by 40 degrees. So we'd say the dip of these beds is 40 degrees to the southwest, because that's the direction that those beds are going down. Okay, let's have a look at some answers. So this is map C. We have a sequence of beds there. We've got a dip arrow marked but not labelled up with a number. And we also have a symbol there for a motorway running down the western side, or near the western side of this map. So question A then asks you to define what we mean by this term dip, and it's the inclination of beds downwards from horizontal. 3 key points there. So it's inclination, so it's tilting of beds. It's the direction they go down, and it's measured from horizontal. Part 2 then asks you to measure the dipper bed shown on photograph C, which shows the dip from this area. So if I measure from horizontal, going down there, and we get a dip of about 25 degrees. So we can then label that on our map as a 25-degree dip to the east. Okay then, for the next question B, we need to look at the cross-section as well. So this is a slice through the ground between points X and Y on map C. And the first question we're asked is why the dip of the sandstone, or the outcrop of the sandstone, which we can see on the map there, is narrower than the conglomerate. Now if we look at the cross-section, we can see that the conglomerate is actually thicker than the sandstone, or the sandstone is thinner than the conglomerate, which explains why the width of what we see at the surface is less. Part C then starts asking about this motorway. So it's clearly running down the bottom of the valley we can see on the cross-section. And we have some potential issues there with the rocks. So the problems we're going to have are the stability of that slope on the western side of the motorway. We can see near X there we've got beds dipping out of the slope down towards the valley bottom. There's a potential there that those rocks could slip and fall down onto that motorway. We then need to think about why the geology makes this a thing. We've clearly got the dipper beds going down towards the motorway. We also always have to think about water. We've got permeable limestone sitting on top of impermeable shale. So any water going down there will hit that impermeable shale. We end up perhaps with the springs. We end up perhaps with lubrication of that bedding plate. The things we can do about this, well, there's a number. We could dig back the slope. We could try and bolt that limestone in place or anchor it in place. We could try and drain the groundwater out, perhaps build a retaining wall to hold it in place. Something that's going to keep that slope in position. It may even be just putting some netting over it to stop any blocks of limestone falling off. But any of those solutions could work towards this. Okay, there is a digging deeper question if you want to have a go at that. But I think we'll discuss the answers to that in a separate lesson. I'll see you then.